Spotlight with Shadow, a Canadian dad who's got his finger on the pulse of global entertainment and sports. Each episode features unfiltered conversations with everyday creatives, musicians, wrestlers, filmmakers, and more from every corner of the globe. No fluff, just raw, real stories. This is Spotlight with Shadow, presented by Off the Top Media.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Spotlight with Shadow. I am Shadow. Today I am joined by an indie wrestler named Mikey Datello. What is going on, my guy?
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for taking time out of your day to grace the spotlight. First and foremost, I don't do pleasantries, but I want to skip right into it. Tell me a little bit about yourself growing up. Like, what is little Mike about? What got you into doing wrestling, or what you venture in life?
Okay. When I was I guess I'll start with how I got into wrestling. When I was 9, I was in 3rd grade. It was actually the week after Batista quit. I had started watching Raw. Um, my friend Colodro came up to me, and he was like, "Yo, Mike," he was like, "You're never gonna believe it. Batista quit." And I had known who Batista was, but I wasn't really too familiar with wrestling. So for whatever reason, I was so like dumbfounded and shocked that Batista quit. And from that moment on, I just started watching. And it was like right around when like Bret Hart was like doing like the general manager stuff. So I was like 9, and then from that moment on, I was just hooked. Um, I played football growing up. From I started when I was 6, and I played all the way till I was 19. Um, Sorry for the ums. A little nervous. I don't do
Oh,
many
you're
interviews.
good.
But yeah. Um, but yeah, I played a lot of football when I was younger. I was very good at it, but I never really felt like it was for me. I had made a post. I posted on my Snapchat. Um, I was always good at football, but I never really loved it. And for some reason, like even when the first day I stepped into a wrestling ring, I just knew like I belonged there. Like I never felt like I fit in with football. Like it was good to do. I was good at it, but when I got into wrestling, everything just kind of changed. I never really felt like I was the smartest guy. Just because growing up, I always struggled in school and stuff. I'm dyslexic, so. But when I got into wrestling, I realized I really wasn't that dumb. I guess I just didn't care about much growing up. So, but wrestling I love, and it's my number one passion. So, yeah, I love wrestling, and it's I always say it saved my life. So yeah,
I appreciate that. I mean, on many levels, it saved mine as well. Different characters. Um, you're just a young guy in the game. You're 23 years old. You're just up and coming. You've been doing this for 3 years now.
yeah. I started in February 21.
Right. So what schools did you go through, or like who's trained you so far and stuff like that?
Okay. So I live in Staten Island, New York. There's a school based out of Staten Island, where it's a wrestling. It's run by Joe Bellini. We just had our 17-year anniversary this past Saturday. Um, when I started, I was actually accused of being a backyard wrestler, because for some reason I just picked it up very well. Like my roles, I was doing my roles my first day. I bumped my first day. I was hitting the ropes my first day. I think like 3 days in, like my third day, I was taking clotheslines. I was just it was very natural to me. Um, I didn't pick all things up naturally, but like the basics of wrestling, I was able to get pretty quickly. Um, and then my coach had actually told me that they were gonna. Someone had told me that I was going to be a part of something, and I hadn't really been working out yet. So I kind of had. I was maybe like a buck 35, and from that moment on, I was like, all right, I got to start taking this seriously. And I wasn't really going as much. I was still kind of inconsistent. I'd maybe go once a week, and then I wouldn't go the next. Then I would go twice a week. But yeah, when I heard that news, and then I was like, I got to start taking this seriously. So, but yeah, I kind of forgot your question. I kind of just started rambling.
No, you're good. This is what it's all about, man. I love the conversation.
Yep.
So in the 3 years you've been wrestling, you've wrestled 52 matches. You currently hold the record of 27 and 25, which is you're still above 500, so that's great.
Yeah.
You're a three-time tag champion. Well, two-time plus now current, so that makes the third.
Yep. Yeah. This past
And
Saturday.
yeah, and you're a no limits champion as well. First off, the three-time tag champs. How do you get there in such a short time? 3 times is huge.
Yeah. I pretty much just I put it up to hard work and consistency. I was told from the beginning that what you put in, you'll get back. and I bleed it. Uh, Most days I work my shoot job all day, and then I'll hit the gym, and then I hit the ring, and then I'm probably not in my bed till maybe 11:30 midnight. But yeah, you got to be consistent on the days you don't want to go. You got to go. So that's it.
I love that. Your tag team partner is Danny Storm, and you guys are the Rise. Tell me a little bit about how you guys formed this tag team. Like, where does this? You guys known each other forever? Is this something that once you got to the school? Like, give me a little bit of inside information on that.
Yeah. So me and Danny we met at Warriors. We both live on Staten Island, so our families had known one another, but we weren't really too close. I think he had known my brother, and like that. That's how we knew each other originally. We met at the school. One day we were just doing open ring. We were just wrestling around together. We flowed really well, and my coach Joe Bellini happened to be watching, and he liked us. So he was like, I think I'm gonna make you guys a tag team." And pretty much from that moment on was kind of how it started. And we grew closer over time, and yeah, now I consider him my best friend.
So, in the course of the last 3 years, you've wrestled a bunch. Where have you just strictly wrestled in? For the lack of better conversation here, the WoW all of this time, or have you gone different promotions? Have you traveled to different states for this? Like, what? Tell me a little bit about your journey.
Sure. I've wrestled at Project Codename, Championship Entertainment Productions, and uh, IWA. They're based projects based out of New Jersey. Championship Entertainment Productions is based out of Long Island, and IWA is also based out of New Jersey. Uh, Warriors kind of goes all around to like the five boroughs. So I've kind of traveled around there. Um, so yeah, I take whatever opportunities I can get. Um, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Most recently, you worked an event with Donovan Dijak. Did you go to the lesson beforehand, or was it just, oh, it's Dijak, how are you doing, and moving on?
I did. He had a seminar earlier on in the day, and I had attended it. He gave a lot of really nice feedback. Uh, Dijak was pretty cool. The one thing that stuck out with me the most is he kept saying that not everyone does everything the same. He was like, the way I kind of interpreted it is that there's different flavors of ice cream for wrestling. So he was like, nothing is done one certain way. Everybody does everything differently. So yeah, he
Did he
was
try?
very informative.
Did he try to ratio you during the seminar?
No, no, not at all. He was actually very nice. I wish he did. I wish he did, to be honest. I tried to bait him on Twitter, but he didn't. I don't think he'd seen that.
Oh man, that so. Before I get into my next topic here, because I am looking over some of your opponents in recent history here. I gotta ask, when you work a locker room and a bigger name like Dijak comes in, no disrespect to you, of course, you're still young into the game, and this is just purely respect for the elders in the game. Do you find yourself marking out a little bit, or have you learned to just be like, "Oh, hello, I'm Mike. How are you?" kind of thing?
Uh, at first, so the first name I'll say I ever met in a locker room was Tommy Dreamer. That was pretty cool. Um, I didn't mark out, no, because I know I got to maintain professionalism. Um, the one guy I did mark out for though was Mr. Kennedy, uh, because I remember I went to a TNA event that he had done at Coney Island, and I'll just never forget. I was chanting at him his entire match, and I was calling him. It was when he was doing the asshole gimmick. So I was like maybe like 9, 10, or 11. I was just chanting that he was an asshole. So yeah, but that was the one time I probably did mark out. But now, yeah, you just got to maintain professionalism, and because at the end of the day, they're just regular guys like me. So
I love that. I've had an opportunity to interview a few young talent now, both men and women, and the respect you guys are showing, just in conversation, for people that have come down just to take their time and wrestle the indie scene. It's huge because, like, in the world of like where we are now, there's not a lot of respect nowadays. But to
yeah.
still see them as a peer, but also see them as somebody that's, well, been to the show and you can learn off them is huge.
Mm.
So, what is your biggest takeaway thus far, without going into who your opponents are yet? Because I'm gonna get there. But
Sure.
so far in your career, what's your biggest takeaway from people that you've wrestled?
Um, Take your time. go slow. It's a it's a marathon. It's not a race. So uh, the second you start going too fast, you start losing your train of thought or your composure is when things kind of go off the rails.
Fair. This is a question you don't have to answer, but I like to ask everybody I ask that I talk to. What is your take on Chris Benoit? Should he be in the Hall of Fame? And can you separate the man from the artist?
Uh,
If you're comfortable answering, you don't have to.
I mean, personally, based off his actions, I do not think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Respect his work. Uh, but yeah, I think I remember I forget what Paul Heyman said, but I know he put it very well. Uh, yeah, that's a tough topic, but yeah.
Yeah, hey, I gotta ask the tough questions. So,
Yep, yep, no problem.
uh, your style, who do you like to mimic it off of the most? Like growing up, I'm sure you had your favorites, but do you have your own developed style, or do you try to pull and take from your different people that you've watched?
Um, I so it's complicated because I get told I'm fairly athletic enough to do some intense stuff, but sometimes I don't always feel it might be necessary. Uh, Growing up, I liked guys like Cody Rhodes, Wade Barrett, Randy Orton, um, but guys that I feel like I could mimic or that I watch when I watch tape. I watch a lot of Seth Rollins. I watch a lot of Daniel Bryan. I like to watch a lot of AJ Styles. Um, but yeah, it depends what I'm feeling. If I'm looking for psychology, maybe I'll watch something from the 80s and 90s, like maybe Bret Hart, Owen Hart. Yeah. Um, Maybe for character, for mic work, someone like CM Punk or John Cena, um, Roman Reigns, even. It all depends whatever I'm trying to get better at that day.
Um, my man Scals tells me a little bit about you. Like I had spoken to you before. I'm not familiar with your work yet. I'm learning about you. Uh, he had said to me that you remind him of a little bit of a speedball Mike Bailey.
Okay, cool, awesome. I appreciate that. Very nice. That makes me very happy.
So now there's two names in this list that I've been going over, and I apologize for looking down. It's bad, but I got some notes here that I put down.
Totally
Um, you have wrestled a couple guys that one that is very legendary, I guess, in at least the indie scene, that being Jay Lethal. What was that like?
uh, very intimidating. It's probably the most nervous I've ever been in my life for a match. Um, but ultimately, uh, I had felt like I'd been in a situation earlier on in that year prior um, that was kind of similar. So my nerves were kind of I knew that I would be able to hold my own. I was just nervous and like in my own head on if I could. I knew I could, but it was just like the nervous feeling. Uh, Jay Lethal was it was an amazing experience. I learned a lot from him, from wrestling him, and from overall talking about him or talking with him in the back. Uh, but yeah, that was a great experience. That might have been maybe one of the best matches I've ever had. Also,
Uh, Dan Maff, uh, strong opponent for you.
yeah, Danny Moff. Danny Moff's a legend. Um, yeah, he was probably the hardest hitting guy I've ever gotten in the ring with. Uh, he chopped me around every corner. So we went four corners. Um, that was the brutalest. That was the hardest thing I ever felt in my life. His spear is insane. I lost wind pretty badly for a second, but everything was safe. But Danny Moff is a beast. Uh, yeah, yeah.
You
That
were
was,
champion and you were champion versus TJ Marconi. Am I saying that correct?
I wasn't champion. TJ was champion. But yeah, I faced him when he had. I think I was his first title defense.
How was that for you being someone's first title defense?
Uh, that was pretty good. That was intimidating. Really, you know, a lot of these guys I admire and I look up to. So pretty much anybody that like TJ or TJ stature, who's also a legend on the indie scene, in my opinion, just from the work he's done. I grew up like knowing TJ, like growing up going to Warrior shows and stuff. So getting in the ring with TJ was pretty cool. TJ, I've teamed with TJ before in the past, so getting in there to wrestle him was also very well. It was also good.
And a man that just recently has been making a huge name for himself down in the indie scene. Some people say that he was wasted. Some people are surprised he didn't go to AEW. Mustafa Ali, how was that going against a guy who's probably this generation exemplified?
Yep, yep. That was that was really like the first big name I ever got in the ring with. Uh, I wrestled name like big honorable names prior, but Mustafa, like I think that was like one of his first matches, like on his undefeated streak. I think I was like we were like 9 or something. We were either 9 or 14. Because Roger Mendez was also in the match. He also just won the World Heavyweight Championship on Saturday. So just shout out to him, congratulations. Uh, but yeah, wrestling Mustafa was insane. I remember watching him on 205 Live when I was in high school. I was a big fan of Mustafa Ali. I didn't really get to tell him that because I didn't want to go into that mark phase. But yeah, wrestling Mustafa was very cool. It was a very full circle moment for me. So, but yeah, I was just glad I was able to keep up with him because he's insane. He's one of the best ever. So, and he told me a lot from that match. So, like a lot that I still carry with me in every match that I go into today.
That's awesome, man. I mean, it's always nice when you get to wrestle somebody that's humble and very straightforward and is there to do business, not in it for themselves.
Yep, yep,
Most recently, as of this recording, which is December 9th, 2024, most recently you were an extra in WWE.
yep, yep.
So what was that like? Being just in the building, working as an extra there and doing your thing?
It's a good experience. You learn a lot. Uh, it's a very, uh, it's very intimidating, of course, like most things in wrestling. But you got to maintain professionalism. You just got to do the right thing. Do what you're asked of, and yeah, it's very good. I'm very honored to be able to do that kind of work and to be able to. I mean, only 3 years in to do that kind of stuff is insane. I think because if you asked me during COVID if this is like something I would be doing right now, I'd probably say you're crazy. Especially looking at me and like what my life was like then, you know. So I'm just grateful.
Were you walking around backstage, shaking hands and kissing babies, trying to get your way in that door a little bit?
Uh, yeah, yeah. Just you know, at the end of the day, when you see, it is very cool seeing people working, but or like seeing guys you grew up watching. But at the end of the day, they're there, they're working, so you don't really want to bother them or be rude. If you walk past them, you'll say hi. You shake hands, be respectful. But at the end of the day, they're human just like everybody else. So you just want to treat them with respect.
You were able to, if I remember correctly, you were able to hold that massive crown jewel title.
Yep, yep,
What is that thing like that big? Like, is that really that huge? Like,
yep, yep. The that was a very beautiful title. It is that big. Uh, yep. It was a very pretty championship.
so with WWE introducing the WWE ID program, you have to be striving for this, right? Like, this is something you want to do, or are you trying to go to the alternative AEW?
Nah, yeah. Well, in wrestling, you'll take whatever opportunity you could get. So either or. I'm a no. In my opinion, I'm a nobody. So I don't really feel like I have the stock to be saying that kind of stuff. But of course, I want to get a WWE ID prospect deal. Uh, at the end of the day, I think that just falls under hard work, consistency, and just being consistent. Uh, so yeah, definitely, just got to keep working hard.
Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, you got the right attitude, so who knows where this is gonna go. You you sound like you're primed and ready to give them everything you've got. So I mean, what's not to like about that? What is the craziest bump you've taken to date that you look back and go, "How the hell did I survive that?"
Uh, um, so there's a few. So like this past Saturday, actually, I'll say I went to go I did a suicide dive, and there was somebody in front of the guy that I was suicide diving on, and I was running so fast that in the moment I was like, "This guy's gonna get hit too." I measured for him. he moved, and the guy that I was sitting was a lot smaller, and I kind of overshot the guy, and my face went headfirst into the guardrail. Uh, it kind of looked like I decapitated the guy, but that was pretty tough, and I was kind of shocked that I was okay and I didn't lost any teeth or had like a bad cut. But the worst bump I definitely took that comes to mind is I took a super AA 2 anniversary shows ago from Roger Mendez in a Staten Island street fight. So yeah, that was pretty tough because he landed in your neck. You know, it's hard to control. So
Fair enough. I know that you're a man that is on Twitter, or as we call it now, X. Would you consider yourself a part of the IWC, or you like to shit on the IWC?
uh, I wouldn't say I'm like a part of it in like ways of like reviewing Raws, but I definitely uh, my timeline is definitely or my feed is definitely in that community. I'll say, but yeah. I definitely keep up with that side of Twitter.
Fair enough. What is the biggest, as a pro wrestler yourself, what is the biggest thing you could say to the IWC? Remember, there's no, you can be explicit, you can say what you need to say, but if you wanted to relay a message to the IWC, what would it be?
From my personal experience, honestly, because I make my own highlight videos to my matches, and I get inspired by the guys that make the highlights on Twitter or on X. And I've communicated with some of them in the past, and they give me good advice. I'll say from personal experience, they're all very kind to me. They're very nice to me. So just keep doing what you guys are doing. I appreciate the work.
I'll ask the same question, but towards more of the toxic community members, what is a message you'd like to say as a professional wrestler?
Same thing I was saying before. At the end of the day, everybody that's in wrestling is humans, and they all just want to be treated like humans, and they want to be respected like humans.
Fair enough. Without really thinking about it, what's your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling?
Uh, you want me to say in like general or like from like my generation growing up?
You can go your generation, you can go in general, whatever it's your Mount Rushmore.
All right, I'm gonna put Cody Rhodes on there because Cody Rhodes was my guy growing up. When he left the Indies or when he left WWE, he was like the first guy I like followed on to independent wrestling. So yeah, and I was a big fan of him on being the elite, and I kept up with his independent career. And then obviously in AEW, and then when he came back to WWE. So I'll put Cody Rhodes. I'm gonna say John Cena. Uh, it's tough. This is tough. Triple H. And Brock Lesnar.
All right. What is your
Just,
honest opinion? Because you're still a wrestling fan. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. I just want to. Someone was calling me on my work phone. I just wanted to. I'll just say I'll call you back. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Work comes first, always, and it's always important.
Yeah.
Um, Given that you're a wrestling fan, we'll take you away from being a wrestler for a second. Given the fact that you're a wrestling fan, what is your thoughts on the current product, both WWE and AEW? Like, do you have an opinion on it, or
Uh, I've been a very big fan of WWE my entire life, so I actually have Raw on right now. I'm just looking at Seth Rollins, uh, as he's making his entrance. I watch AEW. I train on Wednesdays, so I don't really have time to always watch it. But I usually will always watch 3 back, keep up with it. But I'm mainly more consistent with the WWE product. I think right now it's the hottest it's ever been. It's very exciting to watch. Same thing with AEW. All wrestling is pretty much fun for me to watch. I enjoy everything. Uh, so yeah, I enjoy both the products.
I love that answer. Very PC, but I love it. Um, I get it, man. You're trying to get to work. You got to be proper. You know that you do enjoy it though. So, and that didn't sound like a forced answer. That was very authentic.
Yeah.
Uh, Brett or Owen?
Um, I'm gonna say Owen because I mimic a lot of Owen when I wrestle. Whenever I'm training, I do something similar that he does, and I usually always when I'm like doing it, I'm like Owen. So, but yeah,
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I'm a big fan of Owen. I believe if he was still around, he would have been 10 times the wrestler Brett was because he is interchangeable.
Yep. Yep.
You could
Agreed.
easily develop as it went on. It sucks he never got to get to the E part of wrestling, but
Yep. Yep.
we move on. Stinger Taker.
Ooh. All right. So I watched TNA growing up. I started watching TNA during the Immortal era of TNA. I know. I've since watched old TNA. Prior, not that TNA was bad, but the old TNA was goated, of course. Like the triple threat with Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, and Samoa Joe. Tremendous match. Uh, and then yeah, so I'm gonna say Sting, just because I just love Sting for whatever reason. He
It's
connected to
Sting.
me. Yeah, yeah, he just connected to me as a kid growing up, just from watching TNA. I just always vibed with him.
All right. Hogan or Savage?
Savage. He's my dad's
Love
favorite
that
wrestler.
answer.
Yeah.
Love that. Cena or Rock?
Cena.
Triple H or Austin?
Triple H.
Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns?
Ooh, that one's hard. Uh, I'm gonna say Rollins because I study him more.
I don't
Sorry,
know.
we got my charger.
Last one of these. Last one of these that I'll ask. Eddie or Ray?
Uh, I've watched a lot of Eddie and I've studied a lot of Eddie, but I'm gonna say Ray, just because I grew up with him more, so I'm just more familiar with his work and stuff. You cool with me just plugging in my computer real quick? Sorry for the impromptu.
You're good.
All right, sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Favorite match type of all time?
Uh, uh, Hell in a Cell.
Okay. This is one question I get a little bit creative with, and I'm always intrigued when people answer this. Any match in the history of professional wrestling, you can swap out one of the people in the match for yourself. What match and where?
And like everything goes the same in that match, or like I'm just versing that person in that scenario.
You're versing the person in that scenario.
Okay.
You can
I'll
be the
say
winner of the outcome. That's fine. But if
no.
you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
just put yourself into it,
I'll say I'll take out uh Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21, and I'd wrestle Kurt Angle.
ooh, I like that. What is your cheat meal when you're not completely working out all the time for preparing for matches?
Uh, I usually will go to the Wendy's $5 biggie bag, and then I'll get a chocolate frosty on the side, and I'll dip the the chicken nuggets and the French fries in the frosty. So yeah, that's my go-to.
Favorite place to eat in Staten Island?
One more time, sorry.
Favorite place to eat in Staten Island?
Oh, I'll say Panino Rustico, because I used to deliver there, and they just make great paninis.
Right. Mhm. This is the part. This is the part of the conversation where I let you promote anything you need to promote that's upcoming this week, next week. It doesn't matter. Go ahead and promote it. This episode will drop this Thursday coming, so go ahead and go what you need to promote.
Uh, um, this upcoming December 23rd, myself and Danny are going to Championship Entertainment Productions, and we're fighting for their inaugural tag team championships. And then January 11th, Warriors goes to Brooklyn. Uh, I do not know what I'm doing yet, but I know I'll be there, and I know I'll probably be defending the tag team titles with my tag team partner Danny. Um, and then yeah, you can catch me at Warriors of Wrestling uh, once a month, twice a month, depending what we're doing, and also Championship Entertainment Productions.
Perfect. Do you want to promote your socials?
Sure, sure. Uh, Pretty much everything. Mike Datello, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I guess Snapchat too. It's pretty much everything. And also Warriors Wrestling Training Center, 3555 Victory Boulevard in Staten Island, New York. The trainer is Joe Bellini. He's a tremendous trainer. He pretty much taught me everything I know. He was trained by Johnny Rods over at Gleason's in Brooklyn. If I'm not mistaken, it's in Brooklyn. But yeah, Joe's a tremendous trainer. Taught me everything I know. He looks out for his guys. He rides for his guys. Uh, and yeah, I played football my entire life, and I never had a connection with like a coach or a trainer like I have with that dude. So yeah, if you want to know how to wrestle, Warriors is definitely the place to go for a start.
All right. Before I do my sign off, tell me what's your aspirations for the next year?
Just keep getting better, uh, and just keep doing things that I wouldn't have seen myself that I won't see myself doing next year.
All right. All right. I want to thank you for your time. I know you're not feeling too great. I know you've been on the crazy maniac schedule, so I do appreciate you sitting down and chatting with me tonight.
Of course, no problem.
Everybody, make sure you are following every social. Don't be weird though. Support him, but don't be weird about it. Make sure you're grabbing his merch. Make sure you're grabbing his tag team merch. Make sure you're going and supporting the WoW promotion. Just make sure you're supporting all your indie friends because that's what we do here at Spotlight with Shadow. We support the indie scene. With that being said, this is Mike. I am Shadow. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.
Thank you.